In America, it doesn't always mean be quiet. Here it could mean wow, gee whiz, golly wallop. Today we're talking about 2001's The Princess Diaries. The Princess Diaries is all about a one Mia Thermopolis, who is 16 and her entire life just thought of herself as a regular weirdo who went to a private artsy-fartsy school in California. But one day her grandma shows up and tells her, P.S. You're a princess, and hilarity ensues. I'm gonna try not to cry about this because I've shot this video twice already, and I just can't stop crying when I get to this point, so fingers crossed I make it through. Okay. So I think all of us, as children of the internet, identify ourselves with characters that we think that we share similar traits as. Like, you know, I like to think of myself as like a Jack Cowboy Kelly from Newsies, or like a Sirius Black, or like a Lorelai Gilmore. But ultimately, the one character that I know I will always just feel the deepest connection with is Mia Thermopolis. And it's more than just being an awkward teenager with big eyebrows and big hair who like can't really dress yourself very well, who has very like serious convictions with like environmentalism and politics and everything. But it's actually all of those things. And just the fact that she was around when I was young enough to like dream about high school. I was 9 years old when this movie came out, and it's just something I think that we are definitely programmed to expect from high school, is just like wonderful, awful things, especially here in America. I don't know about elsewhere, but I was sure I was going to wind up like Mia. I mean, minus the whole princess thing. While you do like desire some sort of popular like stance and some sort of foot pop and kiss, ultimately you eventually are comfortable with yourself and who you are, and she's just so great. I mean, it was a very big deal for me and my mom and my sister when it came out. We just all saw it in theaters, I remember, and then it was the same thing with the sequel. We were very excited about it. You know, just live action Disney films always sort of brought us together for God knows what reason, but you know, I guess probably just because it's Disney and because they usually had just great plots or casts or whatever. I always wanted to make out with both Eric Von Detten and Robert Schwartzman. So, she has the best of both worlds. I can't stop crying about how much I love Mia Thermopolis. I think that the greatest part about The Princess Diaries is that because it's a Gary Marshall film, a man whom I adore for everything he's ever created, there are very strong, different types of female role models. You have Mia, who's just a teenager and who you can identify with no matter who you are, or what age you are. I mean, if you were that kind of teenager, if you were just a big ball of hair that's just a mess. There's then Mia's mom, who's just like a strong, independent artist, who just, you know, does her best to live just a happy life and just be a great person all the time. And then there's Lily, who's just a crazy, just outspoken, awesome, like, independently driven human, who just is not out to please anybody but herself. And then there's, obviously, most importantly, Julie Andrews, who just, as a woman herself, is very inspirational. But, as the queen, is just, you know, so confident and poised and elegant and beautiful and perfect and just someone you want to be. And if there was ever a person who was meant to play a Disney queen, it was Julie Andrews, because she just is a Disney queen anyway. I mean, you know, what, 50 years later, she's still dominating Disney, first as Mary Poppins and then as the Queen of Genovia. She is like a life idol for any human, rightfully so, because she's just a wonderful, wonderful lady. I am part of the Disney generation. I mean, yes, Disney's been around forever, and yes, Mickey Mouse and all of his friends can touch the hearts of millions everywhere, always. But it's something that I feel about my generation is that we are very Disney driven. Like, as I was talking to Katie today, we were discussing Disney songs and how, you know, adults will just, you know, sing along to the songs sort of, or like remember bits and pieces of it from when they saw it when they were watching it with us or whatever. But, you know, if we hear like a lyric or just a melody, we could sing the entire song just offhand because it's just what we grew up with. And so at this point in time, Disney hadn't really had a princess film in a while. And so I think it's something that people my age really just were drawn to, because you have this basic teen film and something that is just like a very prevalent like movie genre in America, and then on top of that you've got just the magic of Disney, and so everything is just 10 times more epic and beautiful and dramatic and cool, and the thing that makes it that much more special is that it's a live action film, and so it makes it just a little more tangible for those of us dreamers out there, to be like, yeah, well, maybe I have a long-lost grandmother somewhere that could make me a princess. Who knows? It could happen to anyone. And that's, I think, what made The Princess Diaries so successful and just magical and great for people my age with the same sort of like low, weird self-esteem at that point in time. And I really feel like watching Mia's entire transformation throughout the movie definitely makes you a stronger person if you have low self-esteem, because she really develops a lot and she just grows and becomes so mature throughout the course of this like hour and 40-minute movie. She just means the world to me as a character. And I didn't really realize that until today because I never really thought about it before. But then of course the costumes and the set designs were all just glorious, and I literally can't put into words how truly beautiful I think Mia's final gown is, because it just it's phenomenal. Like, I can't even imagine wearing something like that, and just like again, to see something so tangibly there and real and like in your face. My favorite always was her blue dress from the winter dinner scene or whatever. I think definitely, again, because it's Gary Marshall, there are just a lot of like, it's just a genuine film, because Gary Marshall typically likes to perpetuate characters with just, you know, just genuine personalities and that are just down to earth and like grounded and humans that you can see in people you know and people you just want to hang out with and be with all the time, because they're clever and they're cool and they know, they're just like painfully self-aware. It's just a message to be who you are and be comfortable with yourself and just know that you don't need anybody else, because if Julie Andrews can run an entire tiny country that is just obsessed with grapes or pears, you can make it through today.
They had put a fart machine into my sleeping bag.